Bienvenue à la belle ville de Montréal, la métropole du Québec, pour cette 17e édition des Nouvelles mondiales de l'éducation des filles, portant sur le travail le plus récent de 60 millions de filles au niveau de la recherche, les innovations et les projets sur le terrain avec nos formidables partenaires. Mon nom est Wanda Bédard. Pour les prochaines 30 minutes, nous vous mettrons à jour sur nos réalisations de la dernière année pour continuer d'assurer un accès à une éducation de base de qualité pour toutes les filles. Pourquoi l'éducation des filles? Je laisse le soin à notre équipe de vous en parler. Depuis Vancouver, Victoria, Toronto, la Caroline du Nord et évidemment ici à Montréal.
Merci Wanda. Alors nous sommes à Montréal et je veux vous donner quelques résultats de nos investissements dans des projets d'éducation de qualité pour les filles un peu partout dans le monde. Vous nous appuyez de différentes façons depuis 16 ans et vous nous avez permis d'investir plus de 4 millions de dollars dans des projets magnifiques dans 20 pays à travers le monde et ces projets ont touché plus de 70 000 enfants. Et 16 ans, c'est au fond une génération presque complète de vie de jeunes femmes et de jeunes filles. Nos membres à 100% bénévoles, vous le savez, travaillent sans relâche à toutes sortes de choses, notamment que notre fondation ait toujours les données les plus à jour, les recherches, les études les plus pertinentes pour que nous soyons plus à même d'investir dans des projets extrêmement novateurs et parmi les plus durables sur la planète. Au fond, ce qu'on veut, c'est que l'argent durement gagné, que vous nous confiez, ait le plus grand impact. Et comme vous le savez, plus de 99% de chaque don que nous avons reçu se retrouve dans nos projets sur le terrain. Alors, si vous vous demandez pourquoi investir en éducation avec 60 millions de filles, je crois que c'est assez clair.
Du tiers à la moitié des filles dans les pays en développement deviennent mères avant l'âge de 18 ans. Et 15% des filles dans les pays en développement sont mariées avant l'âge de 15 ans. La grossesse est la principale cause de mortalité parmi les filles de 15 à 19 ans partout au monde. Une seule année d'école primaire pour une fille réduit la mortalité maternelle de 10% et aussi la mortalité infantile de 10%.
Lorsqu'une fille reçoit 7 années ou plus d'éducation, elle se marie 4 ans plus tard et a 2,2 moins d'enfants.
Une année de plus à l'école primaire accroît le revenu potentiel d'une fille de 10%. Chaque année supplémentaire d'études secondaires accroît le revenu potentiel d'une fille de 15 à 25%. Si toutes les filles dans le monde complétaient leurs études primaires et secondaires, l'économie mondiale afficherait une hausse de 30 milliards de dollars.
Le financement de l'éducation n'est pas dispendieux. La prestation d'une éducation fondamentale à tous les enfants dans les 46 pays à revenus faibles ou intermédiaires coûterait 26 milliards de dollars de plus à chaque année. La moitié du montant qui a été dépensé pour les Jeux olympiques de Sochi.
On sait qu'une femme éduquée a tendance à envoyer ses enfants à l'école, les garçons et les filles, et ainsi on rehausse les chances pour les générations futures à être éduquées. C'est un cercle vertueux.
Les femmes investissent jusqu'à 90% de leurs revenus en leur famille, contrairement à 30% chez les hommes.
L'éducation réduit le risque qu'une fille ou une femme contracte le VIH ou transmette le VIH à son bébé.
Lorsque les filles sont éduquées, les communautés sont plus stables et récupèrent plus facilement à la suite d'un conflit. Lorsqu'un pays offre à ses enfants l'éducation au niveau secondaire, il réduit de moitié les risques de guerre. Quand on sait que l'extrémisme grandit parallèlement aux inégalités, l'éducation devient de plus en plus essentielle à la sécurité dans le monde.
Les garçons bénéficient aussi d'une éducation libre de toute norme axée sur le genre. Dans plusieurs pays, les normes sur la masculinité peuvent favoriser l'abandon scolaire, le travail infantile, la violence des gangs et le recrutement dans les forces armées.
Merci, Ariane, et les membres de notre belle équipe de nous rappeler à quel point l'éducation des filles améliore la vie des filles et transforme aussi les communautés et les pays. Aujourd'hui, nous aimerions partager avec vous une autre tombée des plus importantes de l'éducation des filles, l'impact sur les changements climatiques. Oui, les changements climatiques. La première question que vous vous posez sans doute est quel peut être le lien direct et transformateur entre l'éducation des filles et l'action climatique? Et pourquoi n'en avons-nous pas entendu parler jusqu'à maintenant? Eh bien, c'est parce que l'impact profond de l'éducation des filles est un secret trop bien gardé. L'investissement dans l'éducation des filles, comme nous venons de l'entendre, génère un très grand nombre de bénéfices immédiats et durables qui sont réalisés tout au long de la vie d'une fille et qui s'étendent pour améliorer la vie de leur famille, leur communauté et la société. En effet, l'éducation des filles est reconnue pour renforcer les économies et pour réduire les inégalités. Les filles éduquées sont moins à risque de se marier jeunes et plus susceptibles d'avoir une vie productive en santé. Elles ont éventuellement de meilleurs revenus et sont encouragées à participer à la prise de décisions qui ont le plus d'impact sur elles. Elles bâtissent un meilleur avenir, non seulement pour elles, mais aussi pour leur famille, leur communauté et leur pays. Ces bienfaits s'étendent aussi au contexte environnemental. Il a été démontré que l'éducation des filles est un catalyseur important quant aux changements et aux actions efficaces sur le climat. Les données récentes suggèrent que les filles éduquées affichent des réponses plus énergiques lors d'urgences climatiques que bien des technologies vertes populaires. L'éducation donne aux gens la confiance de se libérer des traditions, la curiosité requise pour acquérir de nouveaux renseignements et les habiletés cognitives nécessaires pour bien agir face à des difficultés. Une étude démontre que la réduction de 34 gigatonnes de carbone dans l'atmosphère coûterait 1 000 milliards de dollars en technologie, comparativement à 220 milliards de dollars, soit un quart lorsqu'investi en planification familiale. La combinaison de l'éducation des filles et de la planification familiale apporterait la plus grande réduction d'émissions de carbone parmi les 20 actions les plus importantes en vue de diminuer le réchauffement de la planète. Les données démontrent que si l'éducation universelle des filles se réalisait demain, la population en 2050 serait réduite de 1,5 milliard de personnes. En 2100, ce nombre se chiffrerait à 5,7 milliards de personnes de moins sur la planète. Une étude de 125 pays montre que si 70% des femmes pouvaient compléter que les premières années de l'école secondaire, les décès causés par les inondations, la sécheresse, les feux de forêt et les températures extrêmes diminueraient de 60% en 2050. Si les fermières avaient accès aux mêmes ressources que les hommes, le nombre de personnes touchées par la famine serait réduit d'environ 150 millions grâce aux gains de productivité. Jusqu'à ce jour, les investissements en adaptation ont été utilisés avant tout pour bâtir des digues, des barrages, des technologies de semences et des systèmes d'irrigation. Ces investissements manquent souvent de flexibilité et leur efficacité est incertaine face à l'impact futur du changement climatique. Mais les investissements en éducation peuvent aider les personnes et les sociétés à s'adapter aux réalités quotidiennes des changements climatiques. Entre autres, en élaborant des systèmes durables de gestion des ressources, comme par exemple quand on manque d'eau, et en favorisant des perspectives propices qui sont axées sur la gérance environnementale, ainsi que l'équité sociale et de genre. L'injustice de la situation est claire. Les individus et les sociétés qui ont contribué le moins de gaz à effet de serre sont ceux qui vont devoir endurer les pires impacts des changements climatiques. Ceci est vrai géographiquement. Les pays du Sud global sont affectés plus que les pays du Nord, autant que les disparités à l'intérieur même des pays. Et au niveau des générations, l'avenir des jeunes est affecté négativement par des décisions qu'ils n'ont pas pu influencer. Bien que les pays industrialisés tendent à avoir les ressources économiques, la technologie et l'infrastructure nécessaires pour développer et implanter des stratégies adéquates en résilience, Les pays en développement, particulièrement ceux avec un bas niveau de développement économique, sont souvent pas assez stables au niveau financier pour faire face à ce défi. Une conséquence directe des changements climatiques fait en sorte que plusieurs régions rurales font face à des pénuries d'eau, à un déclin d'accès et de qualité de nourriture, des températures en hausse, un plus grand nombre d'événements météo extrêmes et une disponibilité limitée des ressources naturelles. Les extrêmes de climat causent également des dommages aux routes, aux écoles et aux infrastructures, ce qui perturbe la scolarisation. La capacité des enfants à se concentrer en classe et à réussir des examens est compromis par un traumatisme émotionnel ainsi que les impacts physiques de la malnutrition. Et lorsqu'il y a une crise, les filles sont les premières à être retirées de l'école pour soutenir la famille et gagner de l'argent. Souvent, elles sont poussées au mariage précoce comme stratégie d'adaptation lorsque les familles ne voient pas d'autres options. Ceci accroît le risque de violences axées sur le genre, de naissances hâtives et de graves complications de santé. Ça signifie également la fin de leur éducation. Malgré tout, les filles d'aujourd'hui, comme les jeunes activistes Greta Thunberg et Malala Yousafzai, sont perçues comme des chefs de file dynamiques en ce qui a trait au climat partout dans le monde. L'éducation représente le principal outil pour préparer les jeunes au succès dans un environnement social et économique élargi. En d'autres mots, elle peut aider les étudiantes à développer une solide connexion personnelle aux solutions climatiques, ainsi qu'un sentiment de personnalisation et d'autonomisation. La crise climatique n'est pas avant tout une crise technologique. Nous devons rechercher des solutions humaines et non pas seulement technologiques. Nous savons ce que nous devons faire. Veiller à ce que tout le monde ait les connaissances et les outils pour participer. Et l'un des meilleurs points de départ est un investissement dans l'éducation des filles. J'aimerais vous présenter une femme qui démontre parfaitement comment une éducation fondamentale de qualité peut transformer la vie des filles et, dans son cas, les vies de millions de filles après elle. Angeline Murray-Mirwa, la directrice générale de CAMFED Afrique, notre partenaire au Ghana en 2021 et l'un de nos partenaires encore cette année. Angeline Murray-Mirwa a grandi dans une région rurale du Zimbabwe. En 1990, elle a été l'une des premières filles à recevoir une bourse de CAMFED pour son éducation secondaire. La bourse couvrait ses frais scolaires, ainsi que son uniforme, ses souliers et ses fournitures scolaires. Cette possibilité de poursuivre son éducation a dramatiquement changé la vie d'Angeline. Angeline a été mentionnée en 2009 dans le livre intitulé « Half the Sky » de Cheryl Woodoon et Nicholas Kristof, récipiendaires du prix Pulitzer. En 2016, elle a assisté à un événement de CAMFED alors que Julia Gillard, l'ancienne première ministre de l'Australie, est devenue membre de l'organisation. En 2017, elle a reçu le Diamond Ball Honors Award de la Fondation Clara Lionel. En 2020, elle a reçu le prix Yidan pour la promotion du développement de l'éducation. J'ai eu l'occasion extraordinaire de pouvoir m'entraîner avec Angie il y a quelques semaines. Angie, it's so nice to meet you finally. Of course, we would have loved to have you in Montreal, but we understand you're now in Zimbabwe, so a little bit far away. But thank you so much for taking the time to be here today and to share a bit of your story and, of course, all the amazing work that you've been doing at CAMFED. So we do have
Thank you for having me here. I appreciate this opportunity.
Well, thank you so much. As you know, we did a first project with CAMFED in Ghana in 2021, and we're raising funds this year for another project also in Ghana, and really focusing in on STEM and, of course, using the Mobile Learning Lab. So we're really looking forward to seeing the impact of that project as well. I'd like to ask you.
It's been phenomenal. I need to say that. What we've done before in 2021 and throughout to date has been phenomenal. So just to say we're excited about the future as well.
Oh, thank you very much. So I'd like to ask you first to speak a bit of your own personal journey. I know that you were one of the first students to receive a scholarship or to receive support from CAMFED to continue on to high school, which apparently wouldn't have been possible otherwise for you. And what did receiving that support mean to you? What doors did it open for you? And what opportunities did you have that you might otherwise not have had?
That's a very interesting question, Wanda, and I think I can answer that without giving a bit of background on how I ended up being supported by Comfort. So just to say that by the time Comfort started supporting me, I had just completed my primary school, and I had at that time I was very clear that there was no way my family could afford for me to go to high school, which is secondary school. We were just way too poor. It was mission impossible to just keep my hold in primary school. And I just need to say that by that time, I was very resolved that this was the end for me. So I had done the best that I could. So I had the best possible results in the country at the end of primary school. And when I got my results for primary school, I wept. It was that painful because I knew this was the end of the road. This was beyond me. And at that point, that's when Comfort was also coming and starting to work in my community. And the community selected me for support, under Comfort. And for the first time, I had decent clothes provided, I had stationery provided, and the school-going costs were met. And I just want to say that for the first time, I could learn without fear and anxiety of this being taken away. Because what happens when you do not have the resources to stay in school, you're like, this could be the last day, this could be the last term, and this could be the last year. And this is so much pressure for an 11-year-old. But that was my life. And for the first time since getting that support, I was like, I can now learn. I can focus on being a child. I can focus on my learning and just do what needs to be done. But I also just want to say that I could learn and participate in class, not having a notebook to write in or to having a pen. All that was sort of the past. So I could participate. I had the decent clothes to be able to feel, included. But I think the most important and critical and at a very deep level for me was that I felt included. Because exclusion is very powerful, painful, powerful, and devastating. I knew I had a shot at life. My fate was not sealed. There was a chance. I could have a different future from my mother and her mother before her. So I just want to say that gave me hope. And, talking about what this meant for me vis-a-vis what could have happened, I only have to look at my colleagues who did not get the same chance that I got. And to comprehend and understand the power of opportunity. My colleagues, these are girls and of course boys that I was in the same school with that were equally good, equally committed, if not obsessed with their education, with supportive parents who did not get the same chance. They became teen parents, they married early, dropped out of school, and most are still stuck in a vicious cycle of poverty. And for me, the difference that the opportunity made, it diverged our paths. Our lives could not be any more different. And that is very humbling for me, but it's a wake-up call to the world on the value of opportunity and the need to invest in education. That I'm the executive director of the organization that supported me through school. For me, it's very humbling and challenging. And I think everybody needs to know that I would not be where I am today if I had not gotten that opportunity. And that story is not unique. It's echoed by many across Africa.
It just goes to show how, we're losing so much potential talent and skills out there when not everyone has access to school like you were fortunate enough to have. And we're fortunate that you did have that as well. So we're very happy about that. In a recent interview, your CNN interview, I heard you say, I want to be the best I can with what I know, with whoever wants to join me. I want to be empty when I die and to have done everything I could have done to make the world a better place. I use education to uplift girls across sub-Saharan Africa. I really believe, and I can tell you're a force of nature when it comes to ensuring that girls receive the education they have a right to. And I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about CAMA. So the CAMFED Association of Alumni, and why it was so important to you to create CAMA, and how is it part of achieving your mission and goals?
Well, I love CAMA. I count it a blessing for me to have gone as far as I've gone and to got the opportunity that I got. And like I've always said that, to see my other colleagues with primary school who didn't get the same chance is painful, but a challenge for me. And that's why personally, it's always a commitment to do better and more while I'm still living. But I'm so glad that I'm not alone. So in 1998, with 400 other young women, we at that point had been supported through school by Comfort. We founded the CAMFED Association, We call it KAMA. And now is 210,000 members across Africa. And the reason why we found KAMA is very simple and straightforward. It's three-pronged. We had gotten that far, and we had realized what a privilege, tragically, what a privilege it is to have gone that far and to have gotten the opportunity that so many couldn't. And so we got together and we said, how do we maintain, number one, the peer support network we had built while at school, to be there for each other as we took the next steps in our lives, because it can be very isolating. And I think it's important to keep it in mind that the majority of the Confe Association members are the first in their families and communities to go that far. So it can be very isolating. So we started KAMA as the peer support network. How do we help each other as we navigate the next stage of our lives? Secondly, it was, how do we continue to create post-school opportunities for young people? Like I said, to be honest, the world was not so prepared for girls like us from such extreme backgrounds. So you graduate into a dearth of opportunity where there are no employment opportunities. There's no clear path for what's next, because girls like us from villages, like us from rural communities, there was a ceiling, where we would end. So there's this whole death around what happens next. Where do you go? Who do you go to for support? So KAMA continues to create such opportunities for post-school for young people in areas including business, social entrepreneurship. And we are a powerful movement that continues to transition young people. And we continue to look into how do we secure livelihoods for young people like us through employment, education, and entrepreneurship. But finally, but equally important, which like resonates with what you said you had me talk about on CNN, is KAMA provides sort of a vehicle for young people's activism. We look into how do we help the next generation not just do better, but do it faster and do it at scale, better than we've done. And we continue to work together to achieve social justice. We continue to take climate action together, to look into gender justice, women leadership. We're supporting the next generation of girls. So take, for example, the work we're doing with your foundation, 60 Million Girls Foundation in Ghana. And what we are doing there, where we, with mobile learning labs, is incredible. We bring technology to hard-to-reach communities. And this is not just technology, it's technology with a young woman we've emerged from that community. And what it's doing is transformative. That's what we do now as KAMA. That's what KAMA does. And I just also want to say, on average, every young woman member of KAMA supports 3 other children to go to school. That's how we are paying it forward and making a difference through the Confe Association, KAMA.
It's really incredible, Angie. Like you say, paying it forward like that and really multiplying out the impact that all these young girls and women are having. It's incredible. You did mention climate change and climate action, and that's certainly something that's, very important to us and something that we're trying to work on more and more. And I know Confe is really at the forefront, and you have developed, I think it was called the Climate Toolkit. And I was just wondering if you can tell us a little bit more about that and how you're seeing the KAMA Association, but also, as an organization, what can be done to help mitigate and help increase resilience in climate change?
Sure. The climate crisis represents a huge threat to girls' education. I've heard a lot of people say, isn't this mission creep? Aren't you just about girls' education and women empowerment? Are you just jumping on the bandwagon? No, we're not. This is very much at the center of what we do. And it's a huge threat to girls' education, women leadership, because we bear the brunt and the weight of climate shocks. So we work in communities that are largely dependent on smallholder farming. And the increased incidences of extreme weather events, be they floods, droughts, cyclones, caused by climate change, it continues to reduce farm yields. And there's increased food insecurity. And these are communities reliant on the land, reliant on farming. And it just aggravates resource scarcity. But what that then leads to is, there are more girls that are pulled out of school, more girls into early marriages, more time spent collecting water, collecting firewood. There's less time for learning. It means girls aren't able to go to school. I haven't even touched on what happens when rivers floods, that used not to floods. the number of days that are lost, and the fact that there's loss in engagement in learning, poor attendance, but also it affects young women's post-school opportunities. These are young women that are starting agriculture, run businesses, or that rely on people that run agriculture for their income and livelihoods. It's just so real. So the experiences of climate shocks is real in the communities that we work with. And that's why, as an organization, we are helping communities adapt. So we're doing this through addressing such issues as food insecurity. We're doing that through keeping children in school and looking at how do we develop sustainable businesses that can protect the planet, So our climate action comprises 4 key strategies, and I'll try and be as brief as I can in that. So we've got what we call the Agriculture Guide Program. So through this program, Confe Association members, they share vital climate smart skills and information with communities. This is to help them build resilience and sustain livelihoods, to even help them to understand what's going on so that they too can take action to do that. So, issues like sustainable agriculture, how do you improve yields without compromising the future as you do that? So just to say, we have recently celebrated the opening of our climate smart demonstration farm in Zambia. And this was, on a farm that's been donated by a senior chief there. And we're doing this in collaboration with the local university. We also have the climate education in schools. We are trying to catch them young. So we integrate climate smart agriculture and climate smart learning in practical elements such as in agriculture, in environmental science, and in geography, all the works. So that it's familiar, it's something that everybody's thinking about, even when they're in school. And usually children take this learning back to the village as well. Mm-hmm. Thirdly, we have got a very robust national and global advocacy agenda where we share what is working within the communities that we work in. So we're not just sharing the devastation, we're also sharing what is working to be able to improve that. So to say that in 2019, Confe won the UN Climate Action Award for young women's grassroots and action and leadership on climate change. So our climate activists also participated at government roundtables and at COP26, and we're also looking forward to participation in COP27 in Egypt later in the year. Last but not least, we continue to encourage and support our young women in tertiary education, particularly those pursuing climate action courses.
It's amazing, really amazing work, and congratulations on that, because I think for a lot of organizations, real detailed, concrete climate action isn't really on the radar yet, and it's something that we believe is extremely important. I'm going to ask you a very open-ended question, Angie. What do you feel is the greatest challenge that lies ahead of you in ensuring that all girls have access to a quality basic education?
I live, breathe, worry about this every single day of my life. For me, this is something that I care about so deeply, not just because I almost lost the opportunity, but because I saw what it did to my friends who didn't get the chance. So I just want to say that the challenges that I had, they're not just for me, they are for you too, and for everyone who cares about the future of our planet. And is to ensure that how do we continue to make sure that education is on the agenda. And for me, there are 3 issues that we need to keep our eyes on and continue to engage with. Number 1, there's the issue around access and equity. Millions of girls are still out of school and they're still excluded. And the majority of the girls are in hard to reach communities, the girls that are displaced, and the girls who are living with disabilities. We need to continue to ensure that there's still attention to actually getting girls into school. And there are equity issues to this. There are pockets where this is happening. And often you realize that macro data hides these issues. So I think for me, number 1, issues around access, but also with the lens to equity. Secondly, there's the issue around quality of education. We know that millions are still not learning, but we also know that even when millions have been enrolled in school, most remain excluded within the education system itself. We have a lot of children that are encountering social challenges and social, emotional, cultural issues within the school system, so that these children's attendance is very poor, and often this is not seen. And you see that in poor participation rates, poor attendance rates, poor completion rates, and poor performance. And I think we need to continue to recognize that getting them through the school gate is not enough. We need to ensure that they are then actually learning. And there's attention to children. We have got more than average needs. We can't just go with average learners. Let's focus on those that, are least disadvantaged within that system. And I also just want to put a third point around COVID, right? There's a lot of catch-up that needs to be done. But I think for me, most importantly, is we need to ensure that we are prepared. Never again are we caught unawares and unprepared. And we must take seriously the power of proximate leadership, the power of working with and the leadership of those closest to the problem. Across our work as an organization, the fact that we had Confe Association members in the communities within which we work really helped a lot, especially when people started leaving the communities. Like these are either people that are coming from outside the communities to teach or to do aid work. When they started leaving the communities, the people that remained in those communities are actually the Confe Association members who continue to support learning and who continue to support protection and safeguarding of children. We need to ensure that we are not just going back to how things were. We are building on lessons that we've learned. I think finally, but equally cross-cutting, is the use of technology, right? To address the current shortfalls in the system, but also in terms of building better. And I just want to say that the work that we're doing with 60 Million Girls, your foundation, the mobile learning labs are phenomenal. And how do we bring mobile learning labs and proximate leadership to be able to do better, both now and into the future? And I think our work we're doing in Ghana is quite exemplary in that, because together we are bringing technology to reach communities and ensuring that there's new hope possibilities for the invisible children and forgotten learners. And we're doing that phenomenally. And the results, speak for themselves. So yes, access, quality, and lessons from COVID and technology cross-cutting.
Well, we're happy to hear that, of course, Angie. We really believe that technology can help in a lot of areas, as you said, to help bridge that gap that's happened with COVID too, because a lot of children have missed different parts of school, and it's a way of bringing the content and so on back to the kids. Again, I think I have to say one of the things that touched us tremendously is the Confe Association, the CAMA. As you mentioned, during COVID, I'm sure it had a tremendous impact because you have people in the ground in all these different communities, so you can get information out quickly and it can spread really well. It's really phenomenal. I would talk to you all day if I could, but I know you're a very busy woman, and I so appreciate your having taken the time to be with us. We were delighted with the impact of the project that we did with you in 2021. We're looking forward to, as I said, hearing about this new project that we'll be doing that will be starting out in 2023. And thank you so much, Angie. And I'm so glad that you got that initial scholarship from Confe. The world would be a poorer place without you here. So thank you so much. And thank you again for taking the time to be with us today.
No, thank you so much, Wanda. And I like what you said earlier. There's a lot of wastage if we don't invest in education. Yeah. It's not just a favor. I think it's social justice. Every child deserves that opportunity to see how far they can go, to dream what they want to dream and to make this world a better place. So I believe we are on the right track. We just need to expedite this, do this more, do this faster. For the sake of the planet and for the sake of each other, we can do this.
Cette année, 60 millions de filles financera 3 projets de 100 000 $ chaque. Nous avons demandé à nos partenaires de nous expliquer l'impact de leur travail. Le projet intitulé « L'utilisation des lames fondées sur les sciences et les technologies informatiques afin de réduire les effets de la pandémie parmi les étudiantes au secondaire au Ghana ». Ce projet est en sorte la continuation de notre projet avec Confe au Ghana en 2021, où les lames ont été introduits pour la première fois par l'entremise de jeunes femmes dites édupreneurs dans les communautés rurales.
In 2021, Confe partnered with the 60 Million Girls Foundation to deliver a successful mobile learning lab program in rural primary schools in Ghana. The weekly mobile learning lab sessions, known as the MLL sessions, brought technology to the classroom. Young women volunteers, members of the Confe Association, brought mini servers called virtual devices and tablets to after-school sessions with children. The content on the mobile learning lab devices directly complemented the national school curriculum, so topics covered in the classroom could be revisited during the session to engage students in fun and practical learning. This also gives students the rare hands-on opportunity with digital technology. Students reported that their confidence increased and they were more willing to contribute to class discussions. The program successfully increased the quality of education and improved learning outcomes in selected schools. We are delighted to continue in this partnership with the 60 Million Girls Foundation into 2023 with an exciting new project. We will bring mobile learning labs to secondary schools with a strong focus on enhancing STEM and ICT learning. We're using this opportunity to assist the Ghana Education Service to explore how new technologies can improve educational outcomes for girls in rural schools. Confe will partner with the Ghana Education Service to co-create a STEM and ICT-focused mobile learning lab pilot program, which will run at 4 under-resourced girls' high schools. The pilot program will use mobile learning lab technology to enhance learning and develop STEM and ICT skills through hands-on use of the technology. Young women volunteers, called learner guides, will train STEM and ICT teachers at pilot schools so that they can become involved in co-facilitating the mobile learning lab sessions. An estimated 2,000 to 3,000 female students are expected to be reached during the 12-month pilot. By delivering learning materials through technology, it increases student participation, confidence, engagement, and attendance in class. Access to the mobile learning labs will also help vulnerable girls in rural communities whose studies suffered during the COVID-19 pandemic and will catch up on their lost time. We are thrilled to celebrate our valuable partnership with the 60 Million Girls Foundation, who join us in our determination to reach the most marginalized students. We know that through our partnership, we will create a bright future. Thank you.
Le projet « Éliminer les obstacles », le leadership et l'apprentissage des filles et des jeunes femmes dans le Soudan du Sud, en partenariat avec War Child Canada. Ce projet se veut aussi une continuation du projet passé avec War Child au pays. Le programme, incluant l'utilisation des laboratoires d'apprentissage mobile, a eu un impact retentissant auprès des jeunes mères et les filles absentes de l'école dans ces districts très fragiles.
Hello, I am Warren William, IT Officer, War Child Canada, South Sudan. I serve my community through improving access to quality education for children and youth in South Sudan through the help of mobile learning library, which has improved access to knowledge and motivation for learning among primary and secondary school students in Malakal, South Sudan. 150 out of school-going girls and boys had access to education, 82% girls. These learners were attracted back to school because of the flexible, relevant, and innovative approach to learning provided by the stories and games that resonate their life stories. The project helped the targeted learners to continue learning even through the COVID-19 crisis. As a result, State Ministry of Education, Malakal, had requested War Child Canada to extend the project to other schools in the state. The project approach of using tablets and virtual servers has aroused interest among the stakeholders, including the State Ministry of Education, that has committed to exploring the possibility of using the approach to target hundreds of school-going age children who live in the cattle camps, as they continue to miss out on school due to the mobile nature of the cattle camps. Through the animated stories and games, the project has created a huge exposure on the importance of educated women in the development of the community. Because of the exciting approach of using tablets and animated stories, learning outcomes have been enhanced through improved self-directed learning abilities and increased motivation for children to learn.
Le projet « Elle doit être à l'école » appuyer l'accès à l'éducation secondaire au Mozambique avec notre partenaire Save the Children Canada. Ce projet utilise les laboratoires d'apprentissage mobile pour la première fois de façon innovatrice pour s'assurer que les filles en région rurale isolée peuvent continuer leurs études au secondaire en dépit du manque d'une école physique dans ou près de leur village. Ce projet fait partie d'un projet plus large financé par le gouvernement du Canada, ciblant l'éducation des filles dans les communautés les plus fragiles.
Hi, my name is Arson Ruben. I'm the project director for the She Belongs in School project, which is being implemented in Mozambique. The aim of the She Belongs in School project is to enhance the empowerment and learning outcomes of over 33,000 adolescent girls and young women aged between 10 to 19 years from the 7 districts in the northern provinces of Nampula and Niassa. The project will reach 72,000 children directly, boys and girls, and will reach another 150,000 people indirectly.
Eu chamo-me Cláudia Banze, sou especialista de gênero no projeto e falando concretamente da componente de gênero a nível do projeto, o projeto irá usar abordagem transformativa de gênero, mas inicialmente através da avaliação da igualdade de gênero que o projeto acabou de realizar, nós vamos identificar aquilo que são as normas e práticas de gênero que em algum momento contribuem para a desigualdade de gênero, assim como também vamos identificar algumas normas e práticas que constituem barreira para o acesso à educação por parte da rapariga. Então, uma vez compreendida quais são as dinâmicas de poder a nível da família, assim como a nível da comunidade, o projeto irá envolver a comunidade num todo. Eu falo de pessoas influentes a nível da comunidade, que são os líderes comunitários, os líderes religiosos, os fazedores, os provedores dos ritos de iniciação, que são as matronas e patronas, no sentido deste grupo perceber sobre estas normas que em algum momento tem influência ou impacto negativo na vida da comunidade, assim como das famílias, se quisermos gerar uma esfera um pouco mais privada. E pronto, como resultado, assim, no geral, no âmbito geral, nós esperamos que haja melhoria nos resultados de aprendizagem e empoderamento da rapariga.
She Belongs in School will empower girls and young women, especially young mothers, pregnant girls, and survivors of child early and forced marriages by giving them a life-changing opportunity to access secondary education.
Thanks to 60 million girls, this new approach to education will add significant value to enhancing learning outcomes, acquiring digital skills, and improving accessibility and retention. Through this partnership between 60 million girls and Save the Children, we are able to provide life-changing opportunities for girls and young women by providing them access to secondary education.
Comme nous l'avons déjà mentionné, plus de 99% des dons que nous recevons vont directement au projet que nous appuyons. Dans les 16 ans depuis la fondation de 60 millions de filles, une nouvelle génération de filles ont amorcé leur vie adulte. Elles ont acquis les outils nécessaires pour mieux contrôler et mener leur vie. Elles utilisent ce savoir-faire maintenant pour soutenir leurs propres enfants, filles et garçons. Si notre travail s'inscrit dans le type d'investissement que vous voulez appuyer, c'est-à-dire l'impact extraordinaire de l'éducation des filles sur la lutte contre la pauvreté, l'amélioration de la santé, l'augmentation du PIB, diminuer l'impact des changements climatiques et des inégalités hommes-femmes, et d'assurer un monde plus stable et paisible, et encore, tout simplement bénéficier de tous les talents que ces filles amèneront pour résoudre les problèmes les plus difficiles. Nous vous invitons donc à contribuer au projet que nous soutenons. Comment mieux investir votre argent pour la santé de la planète, la paix et la sécurité dans le monde? De plus, 2 donatrices généreuses appuient un programme de jumelage de vos dons à concurrence de 20 000 $. Donc, chaque don reçu dans les prochains 10 jours sera doublé. Prenez-en avantage en appuyant sur le bouton « Don » sur notre site Internet. Nous espérons avoir pu démontrer à quel point l'éducation des filles a un impact transformateur et combien votre appui peut faire toute la différence.